It's March 5th, and there's a lot going on right now from a weather perspective in Wisconsin and much of the country. It's warm, and it's going to stay warm over the next few days, but we go from the potential of seeing our first severe weather outbreak in southern Wisconsin on Friday to potential record-breaking heat on Monday, and then snow chances by later in the week. So it's a crazy up and down March pattern over the next several days, and a lot to cover from a weather perspective, and a lot going on. I think a really interesting pattern for meteorologists. But starting tonight, cloudy, damp, some drizzle. It's mild, but nothing too exciting. As we go into Friday, the warm air will continue to build in, and we'll get rain that'll spread across much of the state during the day on Friday. Temperatures will get up to close to 60 by the evening hours. And then we get a little bit of a dry slot into Friday evening. And this is where we could see some severe weather form. I think if we get enough of a dry slot and we get those storms to refire in the late evening, and this will be more of an overnight event, if anything, maybe even into Saturday morning. Chance for some severe weather, strong winds, maybe some hail. Slight risk of a tornado. So it could be an interesting overnight on Friday into Saturday. Definitely a good amount of rain expected from this system across much of Wisconsin. Now, as we go into Saturday morning, far northwestern parts of the state could switch over to some snow briefly as a little bit cooler air works in on the backside. But I don't think we see much accumulation out of this, and it'll be very isolated. Saturday will be breezy. It'll be cooler, but still mild. And then we rebound a lot as we go into Sunday. Highs back up into the 60s with strong southwesterly winds. Sunday will be a nice day, but it'll be breezy. That trend continues into Monday, even warmer. Southern Wisconsin will see highs around 70, which I think we could maybe get close to breaking some records. Things start to get a little more interesting as we go into Tuesday. That colder air starts to build back in from the south, and then we do get a system coming in from the west as well. Tuesday looks mostly dry right now, but I think some precipitation by the later parts of the day. Here's Tuesday afternoon and evening. We see some rain coming into southern Wisconsin. Doesn't look like too much of a snow threat with the latest run of the European. It cools off by Wednesday, but not a ton. It's still relatively mild across most of the state. And then what happens from here, definitely up in the air. I think it slowly does cool down. You can see that front by Wednesday pushing all the way through Wisconsin and continuing further south and east. And it does get colder, but I don't think we get super cold, 30s and 40s rather than 50s and 60s. But from here, do we get any systems? And the European is still saying that we do. Pretty dry into Thursday. But as we start to go into Friday and into next weekend, maybe a system. Here's Friday the 13th, some snow across Wisconsin. And then the European showing even another system into the 14th and 15th with still a cooler pattern across Wisconsin, cold enough to produce snow. So, this would be an interesting look if we actually do see this. Another push of colder air into the 15th. Again, this is colder for March standards, so with average highs up into the 40s now. Cooler could mean 30s, just cold enough to produce snow. I don't think we get any Arctic blasts anymore, and I don't think we get prolonged cold to sustain snow on the ground. But that doesn't mean that we can't get several inches of accumulation. So winter isn't over. I think we have some shots for snow here once we get past this warm stretch into later next week. So a lot going on. Stay tuned for updates. Keep an eye on the weather for any severe storms that may develop tomorrow evening.